Hi, class. It's still 10:25, same day as I recorded chapter 8. I'm going to record chapter 9, which deals with enterprise systems. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. So in chapter 9, we're going to look at enterprise systems that span the entire organization with one set of people feeding all the departments of the organization. We'll see a little bit about supply chain and customer relationship management, two specific types of software as a service that are enterprise systems. And we'll see the challenges of creating and maintaining these enterprise applications. So the acronym for what we're talking about today is ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Systems. More often than not, we just say enterprise systems. They are a suite of integrated modules with one central database. At Greystone, we have an enterprise system that we don't use a lot of modules for. It's called, it's from Oracle called NetSuite. We use their nonprofit version. We only use their accounting software piece of it. We could use their service desk solution for my help desk or my counterparts help desk for our facilities. We could use it for HR. We could use it for our donors and our charitable functions. But for now, we've only used the one because it took us so long to build out that one module. So as we see from the slide here, we have that one central database. All the data for our company, it resides here. And we see we have a finance and accounting section, HR, manufacturing, production, sales, and marketing. This will vary by the type of organization you have, but everything is centralized, and that's the key here. This type of system, we don't have much chance for data anomalies, incorrectly input data, duplicated data. And that's why people go to this route to plan their solutions. Give me 1 second. Enterprise software usually comes from a provider like Oracle, and it's not customized for every organization. It's like we say, off the shelf. It does use standard business practices across a platform or services like finance and accounting, HR, and so on. So firms implement these by, like we do at Greystone, saying what we want, and we map our processes to what the software does, and we do some configuration there. Maybe more often than not, we change our business process to match that of the software. Our goal here is to increase operational efficiency. One of the drivers that we looked at in our very first couple weeks of class on why we put systems together in the first place. Firm-wide knowledge dissemination and support of decision-making. We should be able to have a better relationship with our customers. And some of the tools we have analytical pieces where we can predict how our platform is going to perform. Like I said, the first thing we're going to look at is supply chain. It's the process of taking raw materials, transforming those materials into a product, and then distributing the product. The upstream supply chain is the process of getting those raw materials, usually to a contract manufacturer. And the downstream supply chain is getting them from the manufacturing point to its final destination. And this is a depiction of Nike supply chain, but we're going to use a dated Nike supply chain video that I've used in my classes for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Like I said, it is a little dated now. What I'd like each of us to do is look up a newer Nike supply chain video under 10 minutes and give it a watch in your time, just so you're fully aligned with it. But with that, we're gonna launch our presentation here on Nike supply chain. Second. And something's up with my embedded video, so I will go find this view and we'll look at it. Just give me one moment. Crazy things happening for the tech guy.
Nike, New Balance, and Kanye West. What do these three things have in common? Probably not a whole lot, apart from the fact that they all create running shoes. According to a report by Transparency Market Research, the global athletic footwear market, which was valued at $74.7 billion in 2011, could grow to be worth $84.4 billion by 2018. That's a lot of shoes. So where did all of these shoes come from? The supply chain of running shoes is an interesting area of focus because although it does generally follow the traditional clothing supply chain model, Nike branded shoes specifically have an added twist. Therefore, we present to you the life of a Nike shoe. We will be taking you on a journey to explore the various facets of the running shoe supply chain, specifically for a pair of Nikes, and it all starts here.
When it comes to designing the shoe, this step deserves its own presentation. Shoe design is a complex process that involves the collaboration of a variety of individuals, including runners, craftsmen, technicians, scientists, and doctors. The primary goal of running shoe engineers is to achieve an optimal shoe design for the average athlete, which involves the complicated task of finding the most versatile specifications to cover a broad spectrum of biomechanical requirements. In contrast, putting a shoe together once specifications have been set is a very straightforward process. Furthermore, creating graphical design for the shoe depends on seasonal trends, market preferences, and brand's personal style.
So once you have the design set, it's time to get the pieces to put the shoe together. Running shoes are made from a combination of materials. The sole has 3 layers: insole, midsole, and outsole. The insole is a thin layer of man-made ethynyl vinyl acetate. The components of the midsole, which provides the bulk of the cushioning, will vary among manufacturers. Generally, it consists of polyurethane surrounding another material such as a gel or liquid silicone, or polyurethane foam given a special brand name by the manufacturer. Outsoles are usually made of carbon rubber, and manufacturers often use an assortment of materials to produce different textures on the outsole. Nike primarily uses recycled and environmentally friendly polyester, synthetic leather, EVA foam, and rubber in their shoes, as well as organic cotton and LWG certified leather. All these products come from an array of suppliers who meet the strict raw material requirements.
Most major athletic footwear is manufactured outside the US by independent contract manufacturers that often operate multiple factories. Nike shoes, for example, are supplied by 115 footwear factories in 13 countries employing nearly 521,000 workers. Contract factories in Vietnam, China, and Indonesia, respectively, manufacture approximately the majority of Nike's total footwear. In terms of innovation, Nike is one of the pioneers of the industry defining manufacturing outsourcing strategy. It is now exploring innovative ways of manufacturing so it can customize products on an unprecedented scale. In fact, 85% of Nike's footwear products are manufactured on lean lines, a new manufacturing process that delivers an additional savings of 15 cents per unit through better labor productivity and lower waste.
Once the products are shipped, usually via boat, they arrive at a given distribution center. We are now entering the downstream portion of our supply chain. Nike currently has 5 primary distribution centers in the U.S.
So this is something that has changed. Nike doesn't have the distribution centers in Memphis anymore. They still have many of them in the United States, but they're throughout the operating areas that they exist in. So South America, Africa, Europe, and of course, Southeast Asia.
US located in Memphis, Tennessee, and had 16 distribution centers outside of the US at the end of fiscal year 2014. Via these centers, Nike distributes their products through three major channels: by selling products to wholesalers in the US and international markets, by direct-to-consumer sales, also known as DTC, which include the inline and factory retail outlets and e-commerce sales, and by sales to global division brands. As it can be seen on the following graph, the wholesale portion of sales is the largest but has been steadily decreasing in the last 3 years, whereas the DTC sales has been increasing, although they are significantly lower than the ratio of DTC revenue for their major competitors Under Armour, VF, and Adidas. This is all to say, the high demand for these products is leading to changes in the supply chain, allowing consumers to obtain their products more efficiently.
But that's not to say retailers are yet to be cut out of the mix. In fact, the following graph shows the growth of Nike retail stores worldwide since 2009, jumping from 674 to 931 in 2015. The number represents the number of Nike stores alone and doesn't account the huge number of independent retailers selling Nike shoes all around the world. Just consider how many athletic stores there are in Ottawa alone selling hundreds of pairs of Nike shoes. Multiply that by thousands of other cities worldwide.
Nike shoes are arguably one of the most popular sneaker brands in history. But what continues to help them set apart? A unique extension and additional tier to the downstream process of their supply chain via a massive resale market that has emerged in the last few years. Nike thrives off of limited releases, and the company has calculated that about 4% of these releases hit the resale market, where resellers are charging huge premiums to desperate shoppers who weren't able to get their hands on the shoes in store. With such high demand, why doesn't Nike simply supply retailers with more shoes at a higher price? Well, this is all a part of a well thought out strategy by which, expertly balancing limited supply and heightened demand, Nike can ensure that the supply never quite meets demand and creates a market that nets the resale community millions of dollars a year. By doing so, Nike ensures to maintain an image of exclusivity that allows them to continue selling out of millions of sneakers without investing in any advertising, PR discounts, or sales.
So next time you go in to buy a new pair of Nikes, you will know the long and complex journey they took before you start yours.
So like I said, that's a good introduction to supply chain. It is a little dated, but the students at the University of Iowa did a fabulous job on that, and gives us a good model to match what our author put up there. So problems we have in the supply chain. The first, inefficiencies cut into our operating costs. That's in any type of business. So we see so many moving pieces here. So companies have to decide for raw materials, do we want a safety stock, meaning we store more raw materials than we actually need for an order, or do we use a just-in-time approach where we only carry what we need for a particular order or time frame? The last bullet here, the bullwhip effect, is where information about demand gets distorted and it affects the entire supply chain. I can remember this back in 2019, 2020. Dell didn't understand its sales would triple during December around Christmas time than it did the previous months. So they didn't have enough materials to meet demand, and stores were forced to go to another brand rather than Dell. So for supply chain management software, it models a company's existing supply chain or as close as it can. It enables demand planning so we don't have them forward. It optimizes procurement, matching manufacturing, or sets our inventories based on whether we want that safety stock or not. We identified transportation modes both in the upstream and the downstream part of the supply chain. Our supply chain execution systems manage our products all the way to the distribution centers and warehouse. We've had a lot of noise about supply chain issues. They have some just last month for people in the Costco's of the world because there was a dock strike and materials were coming in off of boats. During the, we had that rush on toilet paper because we couldn't get it to people quick enough. The other issues are the world is now a 24-hour day landscape, and we have to deal with distance and time zone and currency and legal requirements, performance standards. The performance standards pieces even enabled another line of business and supply chain, and that's contract manufacturers selling directly to consumers through the places like eBay or their own web shops. I could tell you, I just bought some football jerseys for a company called U Jersey, and they get products from a contract manufacturer in China, and they make NFL jerseys among other teams. And from all the reviews I got, you can't even tell the difference between these coming directly from China and the ones you would go buy in the store. So I hope that these look good enough for us to keep, and that it's a place we can buy from again, because frankly, we paid about $40 for these jerseys when in actuality you go to a store they're about 175. So hopefully they work out. If they don't, it's just it's less than football 3 jerseys, so it's less than the price of one to learn a lesson. So the internet helps with this because we can set up warehouses and transportation management in any country. We can set up working apps in different time zones. We can look online and in-person meeting, maximize that upstream part of the supply chain, or we could outsource it, much like IBM does to the company. My company does business with Geodis. They outsource some of their supply chain to Geodis, some they've taken back. We have two types of supply chain. The first is a build to stock, and it really goes on guesses on demand. They use a lot of analytics and a lot of leverage of data warehouses to predict what they will need to build. And a pull-based model is it's driven by current demand. As we see here on our push-based, our supplier forecasts what's going on. They build based on the forecast. Inventory is based on the forecast and so on. A pull-based, we have supplied to make a particular order. We produce the order. We set and stage materials to replenish that, and so on. And you see the internet-driven supply chain is very much different than other supply chain models. Look at all the moving pieces. Without the internet, we wouldn't have a global business system. So our value here, before we start looking at customer relationship management, we can match supply to demand, or we can match supply to forecast. We should be able to keep low inventories based on demand and based on analytics, and be able to cut our storage costs. We should have better delivery. Should have better launch to not only manufacturers but the final consumer. And we should use this assets to even help us increase sales, realizing supply chain costs about 75% of our budgets, which is astronomical. And with that, we look at how we have a better relationship with our customers. And that's by using a software enterprise tool called CRM, or Customer Resource Management. Even small companies, there's way too many customers to always know who they are and what they're all about. I still find it amazing that I can go into both Mike Ortega's gyms in Poughkeepsie Island, and they know me by face without any facial recognition systems, because there were so many members there. But I guess that's a better staff than me. But CRM will help people like me who don't have that memory recall get to know my customers. We also build things like marketing reports and surveys and build that relationship where it doesn't cost us so much to retain a existing customer as it would a new one or get a new one. So some of the things we can do within CRM, we have a marketing piece with things like content analysis. We have a service space where we could have social network CRM or a call center. And we have sales and cold sales and web sales and so. These are a little more forgiving in creation and supply chain because we can have smaller CRMs that are customized for smaller organizations, and we can have full laid out CRMs for bigger, large scale operations. All CRM will have a means to drive sales or Salesforce automation. They'll all have a customer service piece. They'll all have a marketing piece. The way we really judge one is how we can integrate that customer service piece with not only web self-service, but using AI and chatbots to take some of the legwork out for us, as well as integration into social so we can talk to people as they like to compute. So this slide was made in 2023, so last year, and we see we're still reaching our customers 60% in traditional methods, meaning direct mail and telephone, where web and email are 33% and socials is about 7%. And what's crazy during this election season, I'm getting flyers upon flyers from the same people every day in the mail. And I simply just toss them. With phone, if I don't recognize the phone number, I don't answer. So you're really getting me social media or email I don't even really respond to unless I know who they are because phishing is so prevalent. It might be a web search that gets me. So right now you get me on 22% of the time. I'm going to venture to say that the problems with the Postal Service worldwide growing and growing, and people using voice less and less, that web and social media are going to grow in the next few years if they haven't already. This slide just shows some things that are available in CRM. And one thing we can do is grade customers. And what does this mean? This process shows a means to better relate to a customer who's done business with us before. I'll use an example of my relationship with Hilton and their Hilton Honor System. I try to stay exclusively at Hilton properties for one reason or another. I can always find one in areas I'm traveling that will meet my very specific needs when I do travel. I usually get a room that can accommodate my power wheelchair. I usually get one that's big enough to host my house my family. I usually stay in properties that may have a full kitchen and so on. But Hilton knows all of this and they score me as a repeat customer. That's all we're seeing here. We have some kind of new service request coming in and a system, an order entry system or a sales e-commerce platform screen is getting our information. It checks us in our database. And if information is available to us, they score us. For me, I think we didn't travel as much last year as in previous years. We dropped down to a silver member. What sees me as a silver menu, a silver member, sorry, not menu. And I still get some perks, so they'll provide me with special offers and another class of service. If I'm not an existing customer, it'll route me to the best online deal or people to talk to, and they resolve the issue. So I get much better service by already being a customer of, say, Hilton or any organization. A lot of CRM will have employee relationship management built in, where we have a training platform and performance management, but more and more we're seeing those in payroll management systems or human resources information systems, HRMs, where performance and training, compensation, all our taxing needs are stored in our HR systems and not so much in our CRM. But we do have partner relationship management to generate leads, pricing, promotions, and so on, but also connect with outside organizations, maybe through business-to-business sales. We see a couple of types of CRM. One is operational, and one is analytical. So analytical is using data at rest in warehouses and analyzing data in dimensions to be able to provide a solution, where operational CRM is more automating a process and more AI driven. What's our business value of all this? It should be increased customer satisfaction, that customer relationship that we want, that an intimate relationship that we need, that we talked about weeks and weeks ago. Our marketing costs should be reduced and become more effective. That slide I showed before about customer acquisition and retention. So it should cost less to retain me and less to acquire someone new. And all that means we should have increased sales. Challenges to both of these systems: they take a long time to develop. They're very costly. They are software vendor specific, meaning if you choose a solution, that's the solution you're really staying with. Again, many of them are built to shelf, not built to customize. So there could be extended development times, and we may have some cost overruns. And in general, about 3/4 of all IT related projects fail for one reason or another. So we have a lot of issues with both CRM and supply chain. If we're going to try to build a system that take a year or two to develop, we've seen that technology 2 years old is already out of date. So we'll have to deal with changing technology as we're developing or even implementing. Implementing change in our organization can create some havoc, especially when we tell people that their jobs may change or how they do their jobs may change. And we may have educational issues that come to light that make it harder to implement these applications than normal applications might take. Next gen is really about cloud. Most enterprise resource planning tools are now cloud-based or web-based, as in NetSuite or whatever Nike might use as CRM, all cloud-based. We're even starting to develop these solutions for the smaller screen rather than a big screen. And in fact, I can almost do 100% of my jobs, about 90% of my job at Greystone from my phone. It's crazy how we've taken a reliance on multiple screens, bigger screens, more processing power to be able to interact with software solution sites like supply chain would be and make decisions off a phone. They are available for all types of organizations. We're seeing more social embedded CRM, meaning we're bringing social networks into customer relationship management. We're extending chat possibilities into X. We're marketing through Instagram. AI is coming to light here. I believe your AI question for this week will deal with solutions with CRM. And that's it for this chapter. So thanks for following along. I'll post these now, and you all have a great next week.